In 2019, India counts 40,000 and more overseas students. Let's talk about that today. So these guys are from so many countries: Europe, Africa, Asia, and any other place it may be, America or whatever. And India has that reputation in medicine or IT, and well, some people decide just to come and study in India. But guys, going to India for studies, it's a lot of things. And I am one of the people who have witnessed this. So let me explain to you what I've seen here as a student. First thing, I want to speak about life concerning school or life in school, and also we'll speak about life in general, like everyday life. Okay, at school, culture in science. Wherever you go, culture always indulge with science, and when there is a certain culture, the way of approaching science also change. And well, when you come also here in India, you will find some of the things which are going to change because of the culture when you're learning at school. For example, having many holidays or just free days because of festivals. I don't know how many times I have counted holidays which I had just because it was a festival. And of course, the way we speak to teachers, the way we sit in class, the way we have the mood in campus or anything, just stuff change because it's their culture. There is a different way the culture shape the people in a class or wherever it may be. Even though English will be used at school, my friend, there is always that difficulty exchanging or learning when you are in an overseas country. Especially here in India, there is that issue with the language. Let me give you one simple story. When I came here to India, I remember my very first time when I attended a class, I was hearing as if the teacher was speaking everything in Hindi. Like it was English, but I couldn't understand what was going on. Like it was sounding Hindi for me because the accent was just different for me. But let's leave that alone. There are always some difficulties trying to exchange sometimes with teachers. They can be very well in English, but for you to get more explanations, those explanations can be available only in Hindi or any language which is local. Memorizing or understanding. Believe it or not, most of foreigners here in India memorize instead of understanding something, because for you to get marks you need to put that exact sentence which is in the book or in the PPT. No, Bertin, in script it's written presentation, not PPT. Sorry sir, PPT and presentation, they're all same. No, in script it's written presentation, not PPT. Just say presentation, not PPT only. If I take the case of my country, there are some of the stuff which when I reached here totally changed at university. For example, the kind of books which people use at university is not same as here. The time we spend to school, the way we study. Universities in my country, there is one subject which people have to study until they finish it. The attendance criteria is less than here. The collaboration between teachers and students is almost non-existing. But in India, it's changed totally. When I came here, the kinds of books which we use at university is not same as the ones which you use at university in my country. Another thing which surprised me is that you will see a day you can learn 4 subjects at the same time, having every week an exam or a test, 75% off. Every day teachers will be asking you to submit assignment, to come and do this, calling you for this, come and sign this, come and do that. It become different when you just change the academic system. It's totally different, but it's fine because it makes a student to be a full-time student. I am at 5,457 kilometers away from my parents, and you will be sent money for your expenses once. It won't be every day, but the needs will never stop. They will always be coming. You will be asked sometimes to photocopy this, to buy that. You have pens which are finished, you have to buy books, you have to buy that. So many stuff will be there. And sometimes people think that when you're abroad, it's like just money will be flowing, money will be flowing, money will be flowing. But it's not that. All the students who are overseas, no matter how your family is, they always have that struggle with finances. You always finish your money before they send you the next one. So let's go in life outside of school. It's always hard to fit into a culture, and you know, when you move from one place to another, it can be from one country to another. Once you reach India, it's really hard to fit into the Indian culture. There is a way they dress, there is a way they speak, there is a way they do their festivals, there is a way they eat and everything. So stuff totally change. And because of being, or because of having different culture, sometimes foreigners are judged of things which they are not, even just because they have a different culture from others. And well, some of the things which are common, like for my case, people usually think that we are drug dealers or we are cannibalists, but they're just conceptions, just because we have different cultures, we have been growing in different stuff. Some can be, most of them, non-vegetarians, and others are vegetarians, but we just have a different culture. But that doesn't make all of us to be bad, even though there can be some of them who are, but not all of them. In India, you will meet people, talk to them, and maybe even have friends, but it will always be hard for you to get deep into a social life in India because of so many reasons. Sometimes it may be time, another time it can be language, other reasons. There are just so many reasons which are there, which can make a little bit hard for people when they're here in India to build a very strong relationship with Indians. So they usually end up being in more friends from just international guys as them. Yes, of course, sometimes you get those people who will really get along with them and we become good friends, but it's not always easy. One of the examples which is really hard for me is that just by getting a house, my friend, you will suffer because there is no that deep social relation between foreigners and Indians. Sometimes it's always hard. If you decide to come to India, it means you decide to come and stay here for a long time if you're coming as a student. So you need to fit even into the culture of their food. And this is always one of the hard points of foreigners who come here. And most of them end up having their own diets, which can be different from the diet of Indians, because it's just hard to copy everything from Indians because you didn't grow up in India. So your stomach won't just change because you change the place. It's usually hard. So people end up having just a different food and cook for themselves, avoiding the Indian food, which can be hard for them, though sometimes we try. And this thing becomes more hard, especially when you're outside. People have to be more selective when taking a restaurant, and you know, sometimes you might need to save your money and take those street food, but you remember that they might not be compatible with you, or if you take them, and that's really hard. So you have to go in a restaurant, maybe you're going to pay too much money there, but you have to do it because they're the only option which you have. Most of the times when people look at you and see that you're a foreigner, it usually happens in India that they overcharge you because you are a foreigner. And it may be maybe for taking an auto, people will usually charge you more because you're a foreigner. So there's just some simple tricks which you can be having if you want to avoid that. Either share your auto with someone else, or maybe just order one using an app which can call a driver and bring them to you. It's just simple as that. But if you go for yourself, they usually charge people, foreigners, too much money on everything it may be. If there is no price which is standard, they usually charge people, foreigners, too much. But with time, when you know the place and you know the real prices of things, you can discuss with them and tell them the real prices so that it can help you. And now for my last thing which I got here in India. I have been traveling to some of the countries around my origin country, and one of the things which I saw is that there were most of the times similarities. It may be in language, in food, in culture, or whatever it can be. But when I came to India, everything became different. So India gave me more of that experience of opening the world to you, understanding that this and this also exists, understanding that there is a different way of dressing, understanding that there is a different way of having parties and all that stuff. So one of the great things which I can just say about India is that India is really big and really nice to learn. It's opened that experience of the world to you. You can be having a certain expectation of India which you know on TV, but when you reach India, for real, there is a lot of things to learn about India. So those are all the things which I can share about being a student or the life of a student here in India. And there is a lot of things which we usually live here. I'll be making more videos about students or foreigners here in India. If you want to watch them, you will always be welcome again to my channel. And also there's so many others Africans who make videos here in India. I will leave also their videos or the link to their channels in the description. Just go and check them, and I will see you next time. Jai Hind. Alvida.